Welcome to Tony at 12. I'm Tony LeBlanc, and today I'm in conversation with Samuel Staples and his sister Louisa, who are the joint artistic directors of the Alderney Chamber Music Festival, which takes place from the 14th to the 18th of August. Good morning to both of you.
Good
Morning.
morning.
And you're in Berlin at the moment, Louisa?
Yes, that's correct.
And where are you, Samuel?
I'm in London.
Right, okay. Just have to get these things sorted out. Now, the festival's been going for a few years now. What number is this one, Samuel?
Oh, Louisa, 6.
Right.
We lost 2 over COVID. So
COVID, yeah.
Started in 2017.
Right. Okay.
And then we lost 2 over COVID. So I think I'm 6.
Okay, that's
Yes,
fine.
it should be number 7, I think, but we lost. So it's either number 5 or number 6, something like that.
Okay. Louisa, how do you define chamber music?
Oh, that's a very big question. Well, I mean, originally the term chamber music comes from the fact that it would have been played in chambers, in drawing rooms of aristocrats back in the day. So that's where the original term comes from. But what it means for us is the sort of very intimate way of making music, that a lot of classical music is orchestral based, and chamber music is very different. It's a very small group of people, sort of between 2 to, I guess, 8 people would be maybe the top end, but usually 3, 4, 5 people. And it's very different to the big orchestral works in that it's very intimate and very, very precise, and in that also then very personal.
Yeah. Okay. Now, interesting family, aren't you? I mean, I don't know whether you recall, we did a radio interview many years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And obviously some of the questions have come up again from that. But you both started playing the violin at 5. And was that as a result of your parents sort of suggesting you should do this, or how did that come about? Samuel, please answer that one.
Our parents are both professional players. But they now are retired and live full time on Alderney. Lucky them. And all of our parents' friends were players as well. It was just sort of one of those things. I think music does travel down families. It's something that it's just, if it's around the house all the time when you're young, I think it's something that sort of is an inevitability. Children become doctors.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Lawyers become lawyers, etc., etc. Yeah, so there we are. You both went to the Yehudi Menuhin School, yeah?
Yeah.
Louise?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how does that work in terms of selection process? You don't want to take that one, Louisa?
Well, I mean, there is a sort of audition procedure before going to the Menuhin School. It was probably easier for me because Samuel's done it before. So for me, it was probably a slightly easier process. But usually it's a sort of most people send a tape or a recording as a sort of preliminary, and then you go and play for the director of music. And then the final stage, which is actually a very important stage because it's a boarding school predominantly, and the vast majority of the students come from outside the UK. So it's a real boarding school. Like, I mean, most of them, not most of them, but a good deal of them, they would only go home maybe once or twice a year. And so the final stage of the procedure is that they come and live at the school for a couple of days to see if they like it, and also if the school thinks they're a fit, before sort of making that big decision to make such a huge journey, often from the other side of the world.
And do you actually come out with a qualification as such, Samuel?
No.
But you've got the CV saying I attended the school.
I went to the Menuhin School T-shirt.
Yeah.
Well, I survived the
school. Yeah, it's quite useful at times.
One thing I want to know from you both is, how do you memorize the music?
Oh, I don't most of the time these days. I'm getting too old for that.
You read it.
I do most of the time now, and Louisa still does. But, I mean, everyone does it differently. I'm quite visual about it, so I kind of see the page in my head when I memorize and things, and I'll remember sort of, well, I know that I'm at the bottom of the 4th line now, sort of thing. But everyone does it different. I know Louisa doesn't do it like that.
How do you do it, Louisa?
I do it a bit more on muscle memory. So it's yeah, you sort of you practice a lot and you know a piece very well, and then you just sort of trust the fingers to do it, and you don't try to follow. But this is really, I mean, everyone does it. Everyone has their own sort of slightly different way of doing it, and some people find it very, very easy. Some people find it very, very difficult. It's sort of it's a bit of a sort of difficult question with us, because some people think we should all play from memory, some people think we shouldn't. It's a bit sort of argued amongst musicians.
Yeah, so there's no hard and fast rule, and you're on autopilot.
Basically, yes. I mean, in terms of the notes, yes.
I don't practice enough to do that.
We dealt with the next question when we spoke all those years ago, and that's this question about 17th century violins, the importance of them. Louisa, you're still playing a very expensive and rare violin, yeah?
Yes, I am.
Samuel?
Yes, none of them are ours.
No.
They're own. I actually got playing a French violin at the moment, on loan from Beers, which is the big violin shop in London. Yeah, it was made in 1850 in Paris. I've got on loan at the moment, and Louisa's is about 100 years older than that. Made in
1740s.
Yeah. And where's that?
This specific one is from Piacenza in Italy.
Yeah.
Okay, so why was that period of time so important for these musical instruments, and why haven't we been able to match them since?
Well, it's a very disputed subject, and to be honest, no one really quite knows. There's a few theories that there was a different type of varnish that they used, and that plays a big role in the sound production. There's, I mean, also one of the other main theories is that they're not actually better. It's just that instruments get better with time. So it's not that the instruments we make now are inferior. It's just they're just younger, and that hopefully in 200-300 years they will reach the same quality as these old Italian French instruments from the 1700s. But it's not really clear why there's this collection of violin makers from back then who just made these incredible instruments. It's very disputed. I mean, there's some people have some different theories with the shape of the violins and the F holes and this kind of thing, but nothing that can really be sort of definitively concluded.
Yeah, interesting stuff. Bit like old wine matures, all this sort of thing, isn't it?
Yes,
really,
exactly.
You draw a bit of a parallel as far as that's concerned. Right, okay. You're currently in Berlin, Louisa. What I can't say gigs, can I? Where are you performing?
I do a mixture over here. So I'm still studying a bit here, and I do a mixture. At the moment, I have a string quartet, and so I'm most of the time now with them in Berlin, and mostly in Germany. And then some solo things, some orchestral things, sort of a bit of everything at the moment.
Okay, Samuel, what about you?
I'm just wrapping up the season, mercifully. I've got my last thing this week. In orchestra I work for a lot in London, called Sinfonia of London, who are primarily a recording orchestra. So we'll spend the rest of this week. We got back from the Snape Maltings 2 nights ago, and then I'll go in today. I've got a 2 till 9, and we'll spend the rest of the week recording. And then on the 4th, we're doing the BBC prom on the telly in the Albert Hall, and then I can come to Alderney. But yes, I'm spending an awful lot of my time now, sort of either guest leading orchestras in the UK, doing a lot of work in Newcastle and in London and in Manchester, and then I'm spending a lot of time in the studio.
Yeah, Snape Maltings, synonymous with Benjamin Britten.
Yeah, the Britten peers.
Special acoustics there or anything?
Yeah, I think they're really special. Nightmare to get to, but yeah, it's wonderful when you get there. But yeah, so it's my life at the moment, spending a mixture of time. But yeah, an awful lot of commercial work this year, doing lots of soundtracks and stuff like that.
Do do you both have agents to get the work for you, or is it due to the fact that you're building reputations and people come to you?
I never have. I've always done it myself. I think Louise is the same these days. In the days of emails and stuff, it's like, we can sort of do most things ourselves.
Yeah, because my next question is this question of putting the festival together. It's not just you two, the 5 others. Got me notes here. Yeah. So it's it must be quite difficult to fit them in, bearing in mind they've got other engagements.
Yes, it's a bit of a challenge sometimes, but our key is sort of early planning. I mean, pretty much we always joke in the last concert of the festival that as soon as the last concert's over, we start planning the next one. And I mean, it's maybe not quite that extreme, but there is definitely a bit of truth in that. That sort of that really from maybe September, October onwards, the year before is really the time to start planning. Because is also the challenge is that the summer for musicians is usually a very, very busy period. Because there's a lot of summer festivals, this kind of thing, and so we try to get there first.
So you're talking a year in advance, aren't you? Basically, I suppose to make it all work.
Yeah,
from that point of view. Yeah. Okay. Now, can you tell us a little bit about some of the performers that we've got appearing with you? The first one, Miguel Erklich, is that how you pronounce his name? He's a violist, and I've never come across that term before.
Yes,
I know what it is now.
He plays the viola.
Yeah.
And Miguel was one of my finds, because we studied together here in Berlin, and he's from Portugal, and we've played together many, many times now, and he's just such a wonderful person and musician that we thought he would be a very good fit for the festival.
Okay, Samuel, tell us a bit about the cellist Toby White.
Toby, yes, Toby. Louise and I met Toby together actually at our dear mutual friend Ben's festival in South Wales that Louise and I both play at. And we met Toby there. And I think we sort of decided in the first coffee break of the first rehearsal on the first day that we were going to invite him because we just loved his playing so much. He's also hysterically funny. But he's going to be a hit, I think. He's another first timer. But yeah, Toby's he's a British cellist, lives up north. He's got a lot of quartet background like Louisa. But yeah, we think he's going to be a massive hit. I'm really looking forward to him coming, actually.
We actually have quite a lot of first timers this year, actually.
Yeah.
We have quite some fresh blood.
and you've sorted them out in terms of plane tickets and things like that, because in addition to everything else that you have to do to put it together, we've got this problem at the moment whereby we haven't got too many passengers and not enough flights.
Yeah.
Yes, no, our flights were booked, I believe, on the day they were released.
Yeah.
In October.
To
ensure that everyone can travel exactly when they need to. We have to be very organized on that, and it's quite difficult to explain to the musicians sometimes why we are being sort of so on their case about flights like 12 months in advance, because usually you would book flights maybe 2-3 months before, and they don't quite understand why we're sort of panicking about flights 11 months before, but then we explain.
You know the rules. Tell us a little bit about the pianist, Alexander Vorontsov. I'm not very good at pronouncing names, as you've gathered.
Yes, no, he's a Russian pianist who's based now in Germany. Again, he was one of my finds. We met through the foundation through which I have my violin, because they have a piano I think it's only piano. They have a piano competition every year, and he won it last year, and so they thought it would be nice if we played together, and so they asked us both to go and do a concert actually for the president of Germany. We did this like kind of private thing for some reception, and got on really well, and liked playing together. And again, a bit like Miguel, it's just sort of there's sort of Alderney people and not Alderney people. We sometimes have a bit of a gut feeling about someone that they would be a good fit.
Good
And
fit, yeah, absolutely. Is it unusual to have an oboist, Samuel, in as you know what one would normally consider to be exclusively strings?
Yes, it is unusual. The clarinet is much more gifted with chamber repertoire. We've had a clarinetist before. I think it would be fair to say, Louisa, that it was that we wanted Peter, not necessarily an oboist. So the specific oboist, Peter, who I work with all the time. In fact, I'm recording with Peter in about 4 hours today, and we'll do every day for the rest of the summer in Alderney, and we've done loads of concerts together this year. I think, yeah, we wanted Peter to come, mainly for Peter's such a wonderful ambassador for his instrument. And he's so full of, he's such an extrovert performer. He's a published composer by Universal, really world-class arranger, world-class cor-anglais player, and he's co-principal over Britten Sinfonia in London and plays guest principal over with almost all of the top orchestras in London. And he's just a big musical personality. And I think we said that we wanted Peter to come and that we'd find enough for the oboe to do once we got him here, which is what we've done, to be honest.
Yes, yeah, we were a little bit creative, but
well, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Testing you the whole time. Right, now, Louisa, tell us about Emily Edmonds, the mezzo-soprano from Australia.
Emily is actually, I believe I'm correct in saying, our only returning previous musician, I think. Emily came to the festival 2018, I think. Yes. And she was just such a hit. She sang quite a lot of German songs, and then in the last concert she also sang some bits from opera, from Carmen, also some Gershwin. She was just such a huge hit that when we decided that we wanted to have a singer again this year, we sort of didn't really want anybody else, and we were very, very lucky that it worked out in terms of dates, because Emily during the pandemic moved back to Australia, and just by coincidence happened to be in Europe this summer. So it's sort of a little bit that our luck was on our side with that one, that it was possible for her to come. And what will also be very sweet is we'll have a very young audience member, because she recently had a baby, and the baby will be coming to the festival as well. So we'll have maybe our youngest audience member so far coming to the concert.
That can't be bad. Samuel, has the 2024 festival got a specific theme to it, or?
It doesn't, but each concert does.
Yeah.
I was just going to add about Emily actually before yes, just Louisa might not know actually. I was talking to Emily yesterday because she's staying in our house in London when she arrives with baby and the husband. And so we met Emily when she was a young artist at the Royal Opera House in London, and then she had her big, main role sort of career explosion in London, and then moved to Australia, and she's just got the lead role as Cinderella for Opera Australia for Christmas and New Year, which is very massive.
Amazing.
Yeah, that sounds really good. Yeah.
Yes, we'll go all around the Australian Opera House in Melbourne playing.
Well, do they actually use the Sydney Opera House for this sort of stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, sorry. What was your question again?
No, it's all right. Was there a theme as such?
Oh, the themes, yes. Yeah. So no, we don't have a festival theme, but each concert has a theme. So the first concert is Midnight in Paris, which is all French music from in and around the turn into the 20th century. So sort of your Debussy's, and thank you, excellent advertising. And so yeah, that's that whole sort of period. If you think that sort of when Paris was at its most sort of artistic, when they had, everyone that was anyone in the artistic world lived in Paris, where Picasso, Hemingway, Debussy, and music was no different. And those guys were sort of writing impressionist music for the first time, and that's what that whole concert's about. And the second one is about composers in love and what they write with this sort of,
Louisa,
would you like to talk a bit about composers in love?
Sure. So the second concert is it's a sort of Germanic based program, and it's all sort of based around what sort of one of classical music's favorites sort of gossip stories, which is that Brahms, who's one of our most important composers, was desperately in love with his best friend Robert Schumann, also one of our most important composers' wife. And it's a very sort of famous musical love triangle that Brahms was hopelessly in love with Clara, who is now also respected as a composer in her own right. And she was aware of this, and it's always sort of a little bit of a thing that no one quite knows. Was it unrequited, or was it not? There's a lot of speculation about that, and there's a huge deal of letters and things between the two of them, and it was quite apparent, the situation. And then Robert passed away relatively young, and they remained very close friends until Brahms died. But it's a very popular sort of story, and so we've picked a couple of pieces from Clara, from Robert Schumann, and then one of the big trios from Brahms that are all sort of very, very romantic. In fact, we're playing the three romances by Clara Schumann, and all about this hopeless love that Brahms had for his best friend's wife.
It happens. And in the first two concerts, the opportunity to meet the musicians.
Yes, that's something we're trying this year, because it's a bit of feedback we often hear from our audiences, is that firstly they love it when the musicians talk during the concert. Yeah. So that's something that we'll be doing, I believe, before pretty much every piece, that one of us, not necessarily Samuel or I, but that one of the musicians will talk about what we're playing. And then something else that people always say is that they would love to have the chance to chat to the musicians a little bit more. So we're going to have our little meet the musicians before the first two concerts, which will be a sort of, I mean, me and Samuel will sort of hold it, I guess. We'll do it like a sort of Q&A. We'll ask some questions, we'll talk a bit about them, and then obviously anybody who wants to ask specific questions about the musicians or about the pieces, or how much they like Alderney, or how much they enjoyed the Dornier, they're welcome to ask any sorts of questions. We hope that they'll enjoy that.
Good. Yeah, absolutely. Samuel, Bach and Coffee on Friday, August the 16th at 11 a.m.
There's good and bad news about the Bach and Coffee. The bad news for anybody listening is that it's sold out, but the good news for us is that it's sold out.
Good.
The Bach and Coffee we've done every year since the beginning. Bach is this sort of German composer who wrote enormous amounts of music that we all play and study all through our lives, and we've always done a morning concert where you can have a cup of coffee and the biscuit in the morning while we play some Bach.
Okay, so I suppose there's a chance of cancellations.
Possibly, yes.
I guess people should, sort of liaise with the tourist information, the visitor centre, to see if they're happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. What definitely isn't sold out is the Night at the Opera, because obviously when we move into St. Anne's Church, which is just comparatively bigger, so we do have tickets left for Night at the Opera.
Actually, I've booked for that, so I'm looking forward to that. And actually, I also have to say that I think the ticket prices are extremely reasonable, £15 or thereabouts. You wouldn't get anywhere near that in London, would you?
No, unfortunately not. I mean, it's something that we also all felt very passionately about, that we wanted to keep. I think since our first year, we've increased the tickets by sort of a minute, I think £1 or something.
Yeah.
And that was something that we felt very passionately about, that it should remain something that everyone can come to. And for example, our Bach concerts are I believe £10.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that we felt very strongly about, that it shouldn't be too elitist, and that it should be something that's really accessible for everyone, and also for younger people. That's something that was very important to us.
Yeah, because I was going to say, Samuel, you've got the musical workshop for kids, haven't you, on the Saturday?
Yes, which is free and will always be free as long as the week's run.
Yeah.
That's Under the Sea, which is it will be a musical journey in a submarine through various water-related pieces of music and little ones is yes aimed at about 12 and under, but with a parent or guardian, and we will take them through what a violin is and what a cello is and what a piano is and what they sound like, and then we have two tiny violins at the end that they can come and have a go with if they fancy, but hear some music and some stories and stuff. It's great fun.
No, that's good, because it is important to get children on board with these things, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Let's go a little bit more deeply into a night at the opera. Have you got a note of what our friend Emily's going to be singing?
Absolutely. That's currently I'm arranging opera arias for whole orchestras currently for string quartet. That spare moment I have at the moment is what I'm currently copying out viola parts in all of my breaks. Yes, so Night at the Opera is perhaps it's not entirely, it's slightly misleading title, that we are not only doing opera things in that concert. The whole first half of Night at the Opera is Mozart chamber music. Mozart's, synonymous with opera in so many ways, and all of his music is sort of opera influenced. But no, Emily actually only comes into it in the second half. The first half we play my favorite Mozart quartet, and the Mozart oboe quartet with Peter, who we talked about earlier. And in the second half, Emily is doing a collection of her favorite arias that she's chosen, from Samson and Delilah, and from The Marriage of Figaro, and so some Mozart, and spanning all the way from Handel, which really some of the really early operas, all the way to some mid sort of early 20th century operas, late 1800s, and interspersed, Louisa and I are playing some little bits so Emily can have a break. Louisa's playing a big Carmen fantasy, big virtuoso violin piece, and I'm doing Theis's Meditation, which is sort of one of the big violin solos from one of the great French operas. So it's a sort of operatic museum tour, if you will. You go around into different rooms and you might see a bit of this, a bit of this, a bit of this.
Sounds pretty interesting. And finally, Louisa, Sunday, August the 18th, movies, musicals, and more.
Yes, the more will remain a surprise until the night. But it's our final concert has always been, and will continue to be, a very fun, light, predominantly non-classical concert, which we personally really enjoy, because after playing so much serious music the whole week, it's very nice to just sort of let our hair down a bit. And that will be the same this year. So we're playing a lot of film music, stuff from musicals. I reckon for about 90% of it everybody will know. It's very famous stuff. Although I believe we're in the same dilemma as the Bach concert in that one, that the good news for us is that it's either sold out or very close to it. But if anybody would, I think there are still a few, but if anybody would like to come, it would be good to reserve a ticket ASAP.
Yeah.
But the last concert is always a big success. It's very fun. We have cocktails and a very free cocktails.
This is really a John Wilson night, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Who is conducting the recording sessions I'm doing in 4
Oh, right. Okay. That's good. So we end on a common theme. Well, we've talked about booking arrangements and everything else. So, I mean, basically, folks, if you want to see what's still available, and tickets are going like hotcakes, you go into the visitor centre in Victoria Street, and they'll hopefully be able to accommodate you. And as we said, if there are any returns, they can be resold, can't they?
Yes, exactly. Yes, I mean, if someone does buy a ticket, or if somebody buys a pack and then realizes they can't come to one of our concerts, it's greatly appreciated if they do let us know.
Yeah.
Because then, or give the ticket to somebody else.
Yeah,
or,
sure. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. So, I mean, we end this chat by putting 2025 up, and we've already said that you're going to start arranging that in a month or so's time.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's great that you've been able to not only establish this, but keep it going a bit like the Literary Society over here, you know.
Mm.
It goes from
Yeah.
strength to strength, and congratulations to both of you for what you've achieved.
Thank you. It
Thank
would
you.
it would be remiss of us not to say that the only way we've really managed to keep going all these years is due to some extremely generous people.
Yeah, better mention the sponsors. You can mention the sponsors.
Yeah. Well, most importantly, really from the offset has been Geraldine and John Whitaker, who got us going in 2017 and are still supporting the festival with extraordinary generosity. And we also have a new partner as well, Kleinwort Hambros over in Guernsey, David Bromley, who's been made a Herculean effort to getting our agreement with them through, that was all signed for the next 3 years. So we're really looking forward to welcoming them to Alderney this summer, and our sponsor musician fund, which has been a roaring success this year. And Donald Hughes and Philippa Arditi have claimed their own musicians for the with extreme generosity. So we're very grateful to the island as a whole, actually, for their just continued support. And just by buying tickets already, means we can say with absolute certainty now that 2025 is going ahead, which is luxury. Most festivals do not have that luxury. They have to wait for to see how the year goes, to see if it will even exist. And Louisa and I can say with that real absolute certainty that the festival is really in good nick for the next 3 years or so, which for us is it's not lost on us.
Well, I've got to say, on behalf of the people on Alderney, thank you two very much for providing us with this, excellent concept, which we're all going to enjoy. So many, many thanks to you for that. Right. Well, we've just about run out of time. So it's been a pleasure speaking to you both. And we'll look forward to seeing you in a few weeks' time.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah. All the best. Bye.
Bye.